Okay, so I want to introduce our guests to the idea of our genius slot. Now, the genius slot, obviously, in the Know and Be Known, you kind of get, there's a story of the person, there's what they do possibly for a living, or their experience, and they're sharing that knowledge. Because she's a specialist in that area. In a way, that's very generous. It's like, well, here's my best dish, come take what you want, enjoy. You want any questions, come and ask me. I'll be doing something a bit later on about that. Now, the genius slot was really designed as a way of something that we're going to share or engage the group with that isn't so worked out. That could be more cutting edge, more controversial, more challenging. Yeah, people have used the genius slots for various different. I think you were working on a book once. You'd use the genius slot as a way of developing your thinking around a book. I use it to kind of shock the crowd a bit and test new conversations, and that's my thing around it, right? So,
Just the blood pressure.
But the idea of the genius slot is it's an opportunity to share our cutting edge thinking that maybe that we don't ordinarily get to verbalise and put out in the room. So on that note, I'd like to introduce Gill Tiney and our genius slot. Please can you welcome Gill Tiney.
Thank you very much. And can I congratulate, thank you darling, it's my husband sitting in the back in case you didn't know.
He has to stand in.
I brought my own fan club, it's really cool. And the fact that Erkan hasn't done the updates for a long time makes you realise that he missed out on a few slides. Just to remind you guys that Be Inspired is still around. That's the book, and they're over there if you want to go and have a flick through of those. And that's what the current quest looks like. So if you go to BeCollaboration.com, there's a tab at the top, you can click on that and that will take you straight through to issue, and that's where you can share it, and those are the people that are involved, and those are the ones that have contributed to this current issue, which was out just at the end of 2017. Now we're looking at our next one for issue at the end of March, hopefully, and we've just done that. Now it's me, genius, at work. Funnily enough, we've said this many times, the person that does the Know and Be Known and the person who does the core values and the person that does a genius slot don't talk to each other. We have no idea what the other one's going to do. And I have heard the word controversy and controversial about 10 times since I sat down and started listening to people. And that's what I want to talk about today. Controversy. Ooh. Because what I've been realising over the weeks and months is that we're all very nice in BeCollaboration. Bit too nice sometimes. And I want to find out if we can be those people that aren't hiding. And we can step out and we can be brave enough to say what we're thinking, but we're not actually saying out loud. We don't have massive political debates in here. We don't crash through what we think about Bitcoin or the current monetary system. We all kind of are in agreement about an awful lot of things, or are we? We call ourselves like-hearted and like-minded, but we're probably not. Now, it's a shame that Mitch isn't in the room, because Mitch has been brave enough to go, hey, I'm not sure if it's true, but I believe I was abducted by aliens when I was 11 years old. Some of you know this story, some of you don't. And when I first heard it, years before BeCollaboration, over dinner party, and I'm like, okay then, interesting. And you then Google Mitch Herbert and you find all the, stories in the newspapers. It was big at the time. It was very big.
Explains a lot about him then.
A little bit, yeah. But he was brave enough to say that here, and he was not been brave enough to say that anywhere else. And it probably got quite a warm reception. It was okay because it was BeCollaboration and we're all about the love and the hug. But I'm thinking, what if we weren't? What if we were to take it further? So this is a lovely picture. Not that long ago, Erkan was standing up talking about, well, not standing up, you're just saying it to me probably, a few people down the pub, about flat earth theory. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's a load of rubbish. And, but I'm going, okay, I haven't thought about that. I haven't considered it. I haven't understood it. Surely the planet's round, isn't it? Is it flat? What's going on? And to be honest with you, my end of line thoughts around this is I don't know. Because I've not actually been out into space and looked back. I haven't got a clue. So I've only got what other people's theories and perceptions are. So if somebody said that to me, that it's true that we're on a flat earth, I couldn't say you're wrong. But it isn't about saying whether you're wrong or right. It's going back to that gut reaction. Maybe you could hold, I don't know, can you hold that thought in your hand and then have your intuition decide for you? Because we are looking at intuition as well as facts. Because what are facts? Some of it's scientific research, and if you do another scientific project and research, it depends who's carried out the scientific research. There was one recently that actually coffee isn't that bad for you, which was done by a coffee company. You've got to go dig deep to find out what it's all about. So how far are we at BeCollaboration prepared to come out of our comfort zone, to be controversial, but for the right reasons? So the intuitive mind is a sacred gift and the rational mind is a faithful servant. Claudia will tell you lots more about the sacred gift. But we have created a society that honours the servant and has forgotten the gift. And what I don't want is to have a BeCollaboration community that play nice. Because I expect each and every one of you to challenge something that doesn't ring true for you. Not because you are challenging the person for them to change their beliefs, but because you're challenging them so you can understand it better for your own beliefs. Now, I hearken back to the day, I don't think there was anybody here that was in London the day when, soon after the Brexit vote. Were you there, Beju? Do you remember the conversation? We had a genius slot around Brexit, and half the room were like, we should have left, we should be going, and the other half were you there, Colin? Do you remember it? And it was quite volatile, wasn't it? And there were one or two people that were really quite cross about the whole situation. But it was brilliant because at the end of it, there was more understanding on both sides. We didn't have the answers, we didn't have the solution, but we'd been heard. But we haven't had very many conversations like that recently. And maybe we should. Because at the end of the day, what's the truth? And how rigorous are we with ourselves to finding out the truth? Do you hear something go, oh, I don't believe that, but you don't bother to go and have a bit of research and find out what's right and what's wrong? Do you hear someone say something and you disagree with them, but you're coming from your space and you're not bothering to find out whether you could change your opinion or your thought process? Now, when my parents were younger, they voted Labour because their parents voted Labour. Mum, why do you vote Labour? Well, because my mum did. Dad, why do you vote Labour? Well, you do, don't you? And that's what I was brought up with. I never told them or anyone what I voted. They would have been mortified if they thought I'd voted anything but Labour. But I was too like, no, let's keep it nice. Let's not have any arguments. Let's not tell anyone. You know, so I'm guilty of this as well. I'm guilty of taking the easy route and not ruffling feathers. But it isn't about ruffling feathers, it's exploring and finding out more. And what does it feel like when you're told, that's ridiculous? Oh, you don't believe that, do you? Or even on some situations, it's the face. What do you mean?
I get that all the time.
But it's like, what does it make you? Yeah, exactly. You get immune to it. But people are like that. The world out there is like that. They want to condemn. They want to go, oh, that's ridiculous. Fancy saying that. You don't really believe that, do you? And it's the energy that comes across. An example is my neighbour, ex-neighbour, where we used to live. We knew she was medically very, very unwell. Challenged. And we could tell when she hadn't been taking her medications. She would be out in the street in her pyjamas with a knife and very, very threatening, very threatening. So one day we had an extension happening and we had builders on the roof and she was in one of her non-medicated days and she came out and she started literally screaming at the builder standing on the roof. And she was saying to him, if those bricks don't match, they've got to match, otherwise that's going to ruin the whole street. And she went apeshit at this poor man. And he just started back. And he didn't cotton on that she's in her PJs and she's got a knife in her hand and probably it's not the best thing to do. And his ego got in the way and his pride got in the way. And it's like, listen, lady, those bricks are going to match because I've been down and I've... And I'm like, whoa, no, you stop, that's fine, you carry on. And so I got the heat off of him and then it was full force on me. Now I know all the reasonable things in the world, but when somebody's coming at you from 2 inches away and they are that cross about everything, your intuition, your gut, you feel, and you go back, and I went away and calmed her down. Her husband came out and walked her back, and thank you, it's fine, I'll put her, it's okay. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Logically, I knew she wasn't having a go at me, but emotionally, you kind of go, I need a cup of tea, I'm going to put the kettle on. It was quite traumatic. So I'm not saying we want to go down that route. I don't want to bring all this energy into the room, but there are going to be times when you want to stick to your guns and say, this is what I believe, and possibly the rest of the room are going to go, you are mad. You are absolutely mad. And that feeling is going to be there. But I want you to be brave enough to be that person. If that's what you believe and you can back it up and you want to share it, the genius slot is where you can take that space. So even if you are that little red fish going against the grain, Ercan's used to that feeling, aren't you? You've done it more than
You've been racist?
No. It's red fish.
Is it because I was Turkey secret?
Yeah.
I've done, but seriously, my whole life's been like that. My whole life. Ever since I can remember.
So probably you would like to think you're used to it. But I don't know if you would ever get used to it. But it doesn't stop you doing what you believe in, what you moving forward. Okay. So what I'm hoping is that you are in a safe enough environment that you can explore your weirdest and most wonderful thoughts and opinions, and we can take it from there. We need to learn about it as well. So what do you believe that's a little bit weird, a little bit bonkers? Is it maybe good old aliens? Anyone seen one lately? Maybe? No? Or ghosts? Down here, oh look, the man's on the moon.
Ghosts. Can we just say something about ghosts? Just as you said that, and this voice went, oh, shut up, it's just not relevant. That's why I went, oh, ghosts. On Saturday, I had an hour or so on the sofa in the evening, in the middle of the night. And I was tossing and turning, and I was just lying there because I just needed some time to myself. And all of a sudden, I thought I felt and heard Jason coming down the stairs to just see if I was okay. And I didn't open my eyes, and I felt this presence sit down by on the sofa next to me. And I could, in my body, I was crying out, but there was no sound.
Oh, that's horrible.
And my heart was racing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I finally opened my eyes, there was nobody there, but there was this immense presence. So of course my first question is, who are you? And it was Charlie, my girlfriend that died in May.
Wow.
And I was so convinced it was Jason because I was hot and I was just thrashing around, didn't wake him up, so I just wanted to cool myself downstairs. And I so hoped it was him, but because I couldn't actually open my eyes, it was really bizarre, but my heart was thumping and I felt this body and then sit on the sofa next to me. So yeah, I feel the presence of the non-physical.
Okay, that's
and
cool.
I actually see it as well in either colour or movement, shadows and things like that. And I've told myself I'm mental, and if I share it with people, it was young when I was younger, but that's just weird, you're just straight, all the rest of it. And it's thankfully my dad sort of didn't frown at me,
No.
which sort of made it okay. Of course now I realise it's part of my gift, and I've nurtured it, and it's now something I understand a bit more. But yeah, it was very real, very real. So not necessarily aliens, no, but
Okay. Something like that. So in another environment you maybe wouldn't have felt able to. And what I find really fascinating is if you just do the dinner party trick and ask maybe 8 of you around the table, anyone seen a ghost? Most people have had some experience, and there might be the one person that's like, oh, that's ridiculous, don't believe in ghosts. But it's interesting how most people, I would imagine everyone in the room has had some experience or another. So have a think about it. It might be political, it might be about Brexit, it might be about equal pay, maybe. And I've seen lots of things on Facebook about the Golden Globes, and people going, yeah, but, you know, what's dressing in black going to make any difference? Or what about the blokes? You know, there's sexual abuse out there for men as well. What's all that about? So what do you believe at this moment that is a little bit, that you think, oh, I wouldn't necessarily say that to anybody because it's going to be a bit freaky? What I'd like you to do is just spend a minute talking to the person next to you, really quickly, make a statement about something that you believe in, that you think is a little bit that you wouldn't necessarily say out there.
Can I request we just tone down the belief bit? You don't have to believe it, but maybe it's something you entertain as an idea, as opposed to, because I think belief is a word that I really kind of, because you don't have to believe something to consider flat Earth, do you?
No.
Because that's where we get
But
stuck.
what I'm saying is an opinion that you hold that you maybe not have shared openly because you were worried about ridicule or you're not sure about it, or just something that you know, it might be your political persuasion, whatever it happens to be, that you feel you wouldn't necessarily talk. Say you've gone to a dinner party and you think, oh no, I wouldn't possibly share that down there. Okay, I'll just have a couple of minutes thinking about something you might not have shared.
Is people that don't respect other people's opinions. So I don't care. I'm saying I believe in it. I think everyone's allowed their opinion and no one should tell you any different. It's just one of my biggest pet hates. And I've got some friends that are at a do, and I feel like this guy's five. I only suspect, but her views were all right. And you weren't allowed an opinion. But they're trying to convince you that they're good people.
Yeah.
But you're not, because you're not letting anybody else have a fucking say. You know, I hate people.
That's a really good point, actually.
I hate that is one of my biggest pet hates. And if you're one of them people, I can't stand you, ain't got time for you. Just because I respect everybody else's opinion. So me, like, for example, my cousin's gay. And he said to me, I was really worried about telling you, because I'm like, this big guy, and I said to him, listen, I won't judge you, I won't not talk to you, I won't cut you out of my life, I love you the same, it doesn't matter. Don't ask me my opinion. And then when I tried to explain this to the woman, she was like, no, you're judging him. I said, no, I'm not. No, there's a fine line here. Because I'm not judging him in the sense like I'm saying, I never want to see you again, you're disgusting what you're doing. I'm just saying to you, don't ask me if I agree with it. Because my opinion is just important as yours. Do you understand what I mean by that? So just because you're doing it, and you think it's right, so you think it's okay to be gay. I mean, I don't even want to get started on the gay. It was just an example. You think it's okay, I'm not going to tell you it's not. Do you understand? I'm not going to judge, I'm not going to say you're wrong, you're not well, you're no. Don't ask me if I agree.
Right.
My opinion will offend you.
Yeah.
And then you trying to tell me I'm wrong will offend me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But that's what always gets into a heated argument. So that's what I'm trying to stay out about.
Well, this is it. This is the whole thing. We do that all the time. And are we being less of ourselves because we don't actually...
So my reality is, I don't have a problem telling anybody my beliefs or my opinions. What I don't like is you telling me my opinion is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah? I don't think I'm right.
But if somebody said to you your opinion was wrong, rather than take that as a, how dare you?
No, that's fine. Don't try and convince me that I'm wrong.
But by...
Trying to make you change your opinion.
I'll give you an example. Going back to the gay thing, right?
It's a good example.
No, but going back to the gay thing, they have gay marches, because they want to convince everybody that it's right. In my eyes, all you're doing is pissing people off. Get on with it, do it. Don't convince everybody that it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. All I'm saying is, don't ask me if I agree with it. Because the answer's going to be no. Because I'm not.
But sometimes I'm not saying in that world out there, but in this world here, having that kind of conversation and saying this is my opinion, by being brave enough to say this is my opinion, somebody else might have a conversation around that you go, I never thought about that like that before. Okay. And it might give you a different viewpoint, or it might make you go, I still agree, I've still got that opinion.
I hate people saying you're wrong.
Yes, that's the whole point of this. Yeah.
Because I would never tell anyone else they're wrong.
Yeah.
Ever.
That's the epitome of what I'm trying to get across, is there is no right or wrong. And exactly.
Just as good as the next person. It's to be respected.
Yes. Okay. All right, everybody. If you finish up your conversations, back in the room. If you can hear me, can you say shh? Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Did you? Yeah, I'm not surprised. So, oh God, I might have to split those two up in a minute. We had a good conversation over the phone. I'm going to précis this very, very quickly. Is that Demi was saying that he is happy to say to people, live and let live, but if they start telling him what he should believe, that's when he says, don't tell me that I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. So, is that roughly?
Yeah, it's just about respecting other people's opinions, and I'm allowed my opinion, you're allowed yours.
Yep.
I don't have an issue telling people what I believe or what I think in my head is right. Just you do what you're doing, and it's fine. I don't judge you, you don't judge me, and we respect each other's opinions. And my biggest pet hate, and I don't like people that try and force their way of thinking on other people.
Yeah.
Are you religious, just out of interest?
I am.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Why?
Okay.
But
no, I was just wondering.
The point I was making is that in this space we should be able to be free to say absolutely anything that we think is our opinion, with the knowledge that somebody isn't going to browbeat you into, oh, for goodness sake, you believe this or you believe that. And it's very easy with the big subjects, if there are big subjects. I know Carol's very passionate about retirement age for women and the pension that's, was that the conversation? It's those kind of things that, it's interesting, okay, I hadn't thought about that. And we can all be very logical and very sensible and very sweet and nice when we're talking about the big subjects.
Or people can be really nasty.
But what
There's a lot of trolls out there.
Indeed, yeah, indeed. What about when it's something on a more personal level? So, let me tell you a little story. These guys haven't got a clue what it's about, isn't it? Yeah, I stole it from somewhere.
That's a recent.
Yeah.
You're like a catalogue model, man.
Thank you, Debbie. What's really good is that laughter just shows it.
Oh, okay. So basically,
I like you only that. That's what I was like.
Exactly. Yeah.
in November, we went out for dinner after the BeCollaboration meeting, and we went off, and there was Alan as well, and the four of us were sat there, and the conversation was quite.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. There we go. And at some point in the conversation, I said to both Erkan and Beju, "You're not good dads. You're bad dads." And their response was not to go, that's interesting. Why would you say, oh, okay, tell me more. Their response was to go, the face. Yeah. And you don't mean that. No, you're joking. No, that's not serious. How much have you had to drink? Oh, Jill's had a glass of wine. Oh, that's the problem. And I sat there, and at no point was I actually asked about why do you say that? It was just, so I wasn't teasing, and I wasn't...
I did say. I did say.
Well, you said
I did say. You asked to give me an example. You gave me an example.
At the end, right at the end. But at the time, sitting at the table, it was brushed over very, very clearly. Thank you. So...
Thank you.
What I'm saying is there can be issues that we have to tackle and we have to deal with for all the right reasons. Because it is very easy to go, Erkan's just done a presentation and he ran over by 10 minutes, but I'm not going to tell him because it was such a good presentation, I'll let him get away with that. But actually, we've got to weigh up, is it worth saying it? Is it worth saying something? Now, I know from my intuition that I bet those kids from those two had the best weekend ever after Jill just told them they were bad dads.
Can I just say something? Isn't that, though, in your opinion?
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
absolutely.
you're allowed to have, obviously.
Absolutely, yeah. So what I'm saying is we all have opinions, we all have these thoughts that go around, and sometimes we have to challenge ourselves to not be silent, because when we are silent, we're just acquiescing to that opinion by not saying anything.
But also it could be a good opinion, right? So it could be really nice. I could say, that green colour top really suits you, Jill.
Yes.
It does.
Someone's a bit upset over there. Someone's a bit upset.
Someone's upset. I'm upset as well. There's two of us.
Gonna gang up on me. So there has to be a reason for doing it. All right, you don't just do it for the sake of let's turn the knife, let's be a little bit provocative, let's make a come on, I want to stir it up here. That's pointless in my opinion. That's pointless. But if it's something you're out to test out, you're just trying it. If it's something you feel is going to be beneficial to the other person or a group. So, you know, the comms team, if we were to sit down and be nicey-nicey all the time, we're never going to get growth. We could have given up on the quest a long time ago. But it is about, well, what are we doing it for? What's our purpose? What's our reason behind it? And then you can find a good reason for saying things that are quite difficult. So, for example, Sarah was editing some of the articles and they had to go back because they weren't good enough. It would have been very easy for her to go, oh, it's all right, go on, just put it out. But that wouldn't have been up to the standard we were aiming for. So, it's also to create an awareness. And by the way, where I was coming from, if you're interested about being bad dads, is I don't think anybody's a good enough dad. I don't think anyone's a good enough parent. There are always things that we can be doing for our kids. And I think being involved in their lives from their level is where we should be starting, and most parents don't bother to do that.
So just for me, there's two things on that. Just on that, right? What did I say to you afterwards? You know, not after that, after I saw you.
Elephant memories, trying to make himself right now.
Day later, I think you said to me,
There you go, babe, she's not worth it.
No, listen. Time it out. Time it out. You said to me, Anna came up to you and goes, you all right? You said, you all right?
Yeah.
And I said, no, I was cool. I was cool about it.
We sorted it out. We didn't go away.
There was nothing too sorted.
There was no animosity or anything about it. But I felt safe enough that I could say that to
Exactly.
you two.
That's the thing, is about knowing that you could say that and knowing it's not going to be...
It's not going to break anything. It's not going to break anything. So again, when it's done from love, you know, you have to do it from love. If you believe it will improve a situation, and to be authentic, as I said, silence is acquiescence.
What does acquiescence mean?
It means by not saying anything, you're agreeing.
Oh, right.
So if you think about the Holocaust, you know, if you're not going to be against it, that means you're for it.
So if you don't say anything, like, so for example, if I put up posts about Palestine,
Yeah.
and no one comments at all on my post, what does that mean? They don't care, or they don't want to get involved, or they think silence is better, or they're not interested?
Well, you can put a million different meanings on it, can't
Online,
you?
slightly different. That's the silence in that thing.
Yeah.
On online, it's slightly different.
Okay, let's have a conversation about
It's
Palestine.
different.
Yeah.
No, well, I'm talking about that.
Okay. So
Because you turn.
by acquiescence is by not saying anything, you're deemed to possibly agree with what's going on. So you have to be brave enough to stand up and be counted, basically. And not to hide. We've all talked about being invisible. We've all done it in, you know, so, oh, I'm not going to say anything now because it's only going to get into one of those things. And I don't really want one. Sometimes you have to choose to be visible. And to share your knowledge, what you've learned. You know, and sometimes the stuff we've got in our past can have huge impact and take effect in the future, and you have to choose to go, well, actually, I'm a teacher, I've been a teacher, I know an awful lot about how children learn and I understand these things, so therefore I'm coming from a perspective of not being a mum or not criticising you, but it comes from a different perspective. And what is nice is when somebody, rather than goes, that's ridiculous, is go, well, why did you say that? What do you mean by that? What a better response to have a proper open conversation. It's up to others whether they choose to believe it. It's an opinion, as Demi was saying, it's an opinion that you hold, but you should be brave enough to say it out loud. Now, this is a video that I thought most people had seen, and apparently not everyone has. So if you have seen it, enjoy it, but take it from the context of this is what I believe BeCollaboration is out to achieve. This was originally recorded in 1940, and nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. You've seen the updated version of it.
I'm sorry. I don't want to be a member. That's not my business. I want to rule or conquer anyone.
So,
I should like to help
thanks.
everyone.
I can't see it without my glasses.
Check time, like man to fight. We all want to help one another. Because I like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate or despise one another. In this world there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful. We have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls. Has barricaded the world with hate. We have developed speed, and we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much, feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world, millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. For those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill their promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power, let us all unite. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite!
Okay. All it takes is for us to let things go by, for not to let things slide, to not accept the best. We want the best for each other, we want the best for this group, and we are making an impact drip by drip by drip in order to have a torrential avalanche of impact through the whole of the world. So when you understand somebody's coming to you to say something that might be controversial in your world, and you get that gut feeling of anger or how dare they, or just let that go. It only lasts a minute anyway, and then have a listen, hear what they're actually saying to you. And hopefully when you see somebody that you think you can help and support through whatever it is, you can make a difference as well. It's time to see what I can do to test the limits and break through. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. I'm free. Live, love, and have a great weekend. So, thank you.